And we're rolling.
With the homies. Rolling with the home. It's from Clueless.
Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It is Monday. That means it's time.
Mondays.
Yep. That was energetic right there.
I tried to be,
You got it. Nigga threw up the touchdown symbol. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Anyway, we're back and a lot happened over the weekend.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to get right to it. But first, let's do some intros. Who are you, co-host?
I'm Dash, a.k.a. Dashing D, a.k.a. the real king of R&B, a.k.a. Namoose.
I think that's funny every time. Just dip off screen.
I know.
I love it. All right. And I am JD, aka He Who Pods, aka He Who gotta figure out what he's doing with his hair. Like, gotta figure it out.
You going for the fro?
No, but if I don't get a haircut soon, we'll be there because we are inches away, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
So
you rock your curls proudly.
yeah, maybe I'll throw some product in my hair next pod.
Give it a little zhuzh. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe next episode I'll throw some product in there.
You go finger curl it.
I don't do any of that. I just throw the product in and then it does its job.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, not that fly for a white guy.
That sounds better. That you
Oh
have
yeah,
hair that just put product in and it'll do what it does.
it just be curly on its own. So once I put the product, then it's like, we're here, hi.
Very convenient.
Yeah, it works out. All right. Now
Get
that we've
your hardly
introduced
stamina.
ourselves, all right, let's get into the Academy Awards.
The Academy.
All right. So the Oscars happened, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, that's right, Sierra.
Sierra has much to celebrate today, by the way. See, her man is going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson.
I know who he is. I did not know that.
Now you know. I get excited because I know about the Steelers. I know nothing about football, but I do get excited when things are about like Pittsburgh sports because I actually know about that. So, I saw it and I was like, oh, that's so cool. The Oscars.
The Oscars. So I'm just gonna read down this list, and you can tell me when you want to jump in.
Okay.
All right. Best Actor, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. Best Actress. Oh, I'm going too fast. What did you say?
I just said nice. You can keep going.
Emma Stone, Best Actress for Poor Things.
Has anyone seen Poor Things? Because I
No
have
one
not.
here has. How about over there?
Has anyone seen Poor Things? No?
It's just
I've
me
never
over
seen
here.
Poor
I haven't
Things.
seen it.
I hate when these
Yeah.
movies get nominated and I didn't see them. It frustrates me because I'm like, are you sure?
Right.
Did they make the right decision?
Now I feel like I gotta watch Poor Things.
Yeah, it's on streaming now. Of course, they put it on streaming like the day the Oscars come on. So I'm going to
Oh,
watch
okay.
it. But
Yeah, I might have to find it and check it out.
I got to watch that after I watch Bad Boys 3.
Oh, I forgot all about Bad Boys 3. Yeah.
Which is
How
not
could I
Oscar
forget?
nominated. But
No, it was not. No, it was not. Thankfully.
it will cause controversy nonetheless.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Best Picture, Oppenheimer.
Okay. That's to be expected. Not mad at
Be
that.
honest. I thought Oppenheimer was gonna get screwed over,
By
but it looks like they didn't. It looks
who?
like
By what
by
film?
the Oscars.
Oh, but I mean, who did you think? What film did you think was gonna win?
Oh, that I didn't know, but I didn't think. I mean, I knew Robert Downey Jr. and Cillian Murphy were probably gonna win, which I said here, but I didn't think they were gonna get all the other stuff too. I said they ain't gonna give them a suite of all of these things, and I'm happy I was wrong, to be honest.
I think no one else sweeps like that. Meaning in this I didn't anticipate anyone else sweeping like that. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, Poor Things was nominated for a lot of stuff. So was Killers of the Flower Moon. There was a lot of different categories where they were competing against other people who were, industry and award darlings as well. So I thought they were going to at least jerk them on a few. But the spoiler version is Oppenheimer cleaned house.
Just all the awards.
It was like, we'll take this award and this award and this award. Watch your step. That's my award. Watch it.
Right.
They took all of them. But
Right.
back to the list. Best Picture was Oppenheimer. Best Supporting Actor, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
Best Supporting Actress, Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers again. Yeah, Superfly. And she did a great job in the film.
She did. And I love this for her. I love the fact that she's talked about, she's kind of had a hard time in the industry and all of that, and she doesn't fit the typical description of Hollywood actress.
No,
Um
she's a big
and
fat black lady.
there you go. So
No, but
um
listen, that's what makes it fly.
of course, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying
Yeah.
she
No, you're
doesn't
absolutely right.
she's
Yeah, she
expressed
doesn't
her.
look like Emma Stone or,
No.
uh
And when you were talking about Oppenheimer, I was thinking to myself, well, the way I kind of see it is, I mean, you're going to say race wars, but I feel like the white men get theirs first, and then white women get theirs, and then if there's any left over, usually. So that's why to me, Oppenheimer was obvious. I do understand, like, when you're talking about things like Killers of a Flower Moon, I just feel like people didn't really care for Killers of the Flower Moon as much as as Oppenheimer seems to have resonated with so many people. And it was such a huge release that. But yeah, so that's why that's first of all, that's one of the reasons why I said I thought that Oppenheimer would sweep. But also just thinking about Divine and the landscape that she's existing in, it ain't easy.
no, no, not at all. And that's why I purposely pointed out those characteristics because she's not a blonde-haired white woman with blue eyes who is a Hollywood darling. She's this random lady who most people never even heard of until Holdovers. And it's like, who's this big fat black lady? A great actress. That's who she is because
Right.
she
And
killed
I
it.
and I encourage people to go and find other work that she's done.
Right,
Because this isn't the only thing she's done.
right,
But this did make her very recognizable. So I do
which
encourage
is
people to
great.
go and seek out. I love it when find an actor that I like, and I'll just go and Google their
Filmography.
filmography, and I'll be like, I'm gonna watch some Sterling K. Brown movies today.
Right,
Like, because he's one that I looked up recently because he's done so much, and I haven't seen most of it. So
right.
but yeah, so I encourage our audience to please go and seek that out. I think
Yeah,
you'll be pleased.
agreed. Best director? I mean, you already know. I mean, he didn't need the award,
Christopher
but
Nolan.
I keep telling y'all that's the
not
guy.
not the shoulder belt. Not
That's
the
that's
shoulder
the
belt for
guy. You know what
Christopher
I'm saying?
Nolan.
That's the guy. You know what I'm saying? So all the shoulder
Yeah, we know
movements.
that's
You
your
know what I'm
guy.
saying? Christopher Nolan. Yeah, that's my guy. Best director Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer.
Uh-huh.
Um. So then we have best original song.
Mm-hmm.
Billie Eilish and Phineas won for "What Was I Made For," the song that you know. Yep. Um, I'm gonna skip some of these because we don't care about them. Or you want me to read everything?
You can use your discretion. Skip what you want to skip.
All right. Well, I'm gonna speak about one that I was shocked by, which is best animated movie. It did not go to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It went to The Boy and the Heron.
Oh, I heard about this because you
That was interesting.
because my cousin was upset.
Is that the actor? Is
Shamik
that a joke? Yep, a joke.
he
Um,
was upset, very upset, very. Very publicly upset.
Yep. We'll get to it. Best original score went to Oppenheimer. I thought that was really interesting. I'll be honest. I don't remember what were the other ones were that were nominated, but Oppenheimer didn't have the flyest score in my opinion. And a lot of it was similar to other Christopher Nolan movies. Like if you've seen Inception, it was a very similar score. So that was interesting to me. But
Well, for the people who haven't seen every single Christopher Nolan movie, maybe they thought it was different.
maybe, but shame on them for that. But yeah, Oppenheimer also won Best
Nerd.
Original. Oh yeah, listen. I've seen every Christopher Nolan movie,
Just messing with you.
and most of them I've seen more than once.
Because not very many people would know the score or be able to recognize Christopher Nolan's usual caliber of score. So that's
Oh
why I
well,
say that, which
some
is
of us are
cool.
some of us are big Nolan fans.
Oh, yep.
What else? What else? What else? Anatomy of a Fall won Best Original Screenplay. And I
Mm,
always think that should be highlighted because most movies are adaptations of a book or
yep.
something like that. And anytime somebody comes up with an original thing, I think we should highlight it. And so maybe people don't care about that. As a creative, I do. And I
Mm,
think that should always be highlighted. Too
yep.
many people are not creating things on their own. They're kind of remixing old movies or taking books and making them into a film.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we should highlight the original creators, yeah, more so because they have to start from scratch.
Hmm.
So yeah. Um Best cinematography, Oppenheimer. So this is the really nerd side, what I'm gonna say next. You don't care about this at all, but I gotta
You,
get my nerd shit off.
I don't know
Best
what you're about to
visual
say.
effects went to Godzilla minus one. And that is super fly. I almost wore my Godzilla shirt today to celebrate. But
Oh, I didn't see that.
uh yeah. So Godzilla minus one is a really good international film.
Hmm.
It broke records for box office numbers, and they did an amazing job. I saw it, and I'm thinking about going to see it again. Actually, they even released it in black and white, which is rare and weird. And I'm like, oh, that's so
Sounds
weird. I might just do that.
cool.
Yeah,
That sounds cool.
yeah. What's cool about Godzilla minus one is it is a 2023 because it came out late last year, if I'm correct. 2023 version of like the old school Godzilla movies, where like it's not Godzilla against all the Superfly monsters with the Superfly visual effects. It's Godzilla against like the people, and they're trying to figure out how to defeat Godzilla. And it's like Godzilla damaging, you know, everything he touches, and it's that kind of old school like Japan versus Godzilla kind of story.
Okay.
And that was really cool to see in 2024. For example, my daughter has seen all of the recent Godzilla movies, and I took her to see this Godzilla movie. She was enamored. She was glued to the edge of her seat because this was so new and different for her. Where I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is the classic old school joint. Like, this is just a new version. And so everything that happened was fly, but it was not new to me. It was just it was like a refreshing take on the classics. And
Okay.
to her, she was like, Dad, this is like the best Godzilla movie ever. And I told her,
Mm.
and this is why another reason I think is fly is if you have never seen any of the old classic joints, then this is a great introduction to that style of film.
Really? Oh, okay. I dig that.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see it simply because if it won for visual effects, I'm curious about the visual effects.
Yeah, they did a great job. And I know most people probably don't care about that. But because of the type of movie this was, I thought it was worth highlighting. So speaking of adaptations, Um, American Fiction, a movie we both saw and were hoping won an award. Did it
Cord,
won? What?
cord one, right?
Cord?
Okay, just go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, Cord Jefferson. I was like, what are you talking about? Yes, very good. I was lost. I was a blonde moment on my part. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
we're still stuck on the visual effects.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, American Fiction won for Best Adapted Screenplay. And I think that's really cool. I'm glad it won, even though it lost to some behemoths in the industry, mainly Oppenheimer. But I'm very glad that it won an award and is recognized. And he said something interesting too, which we'll get to later.
Okay.
For Jefferson Court when he won. Ford Jefferson, not Jefferson Court.
You're right.
Um, Poor Things won Best Costume Design. Uh,
You want to pull
and Best.
over for a second about that?
What'd you say?
You want to pull over for a second about best costume design?
No, let's do it after. So we could talk about all the fun stuff after we've read the winners.
Okay.
But yes, we will speak about that for sure. Poor Things also won Best Production Design and Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Oppenheimer won Best Film Editing. I think that's a weird category. Because how do you compare people's film editing?
Have you ever seen anything on Tubi, or have you ever seen those clips where people post Tubi? And how
But they, but no.
I
That's a
know what
great
you're
point.
gonna say.
You're being
These people
sarcastic.
are the cream of the crop. These movies, these films are the cream of the crop. But that doesn't mean that there isn't skill in editing well.
No, you're right. That's a great point. I don't disagree with that. The reason I say it's weird is because there's already a Best Cinematography award.
Hmm.
So it's kind of weird that they're separate. To me, maybe people feel otherwise. Feel free to put it in the comments. But to me, it's weird that you have Best Cinematography and also Best Editing. I think that's weird.
I get that, but I feel like cinematography probably involves it's when they think about that category, it probably involves more than the editing.
I guess, yeah.
Because it's kind of like, I feel like cinematography kind of combines a bunch of those things, right? Like visual effects would be
Yeah.
combined in there, editing. Um, yeah, so, you know, directing, all of that kind of gets rolled into,
Matched up into one.
yeah, that's what I would think.
Watch it talk. All right, sorry. That was ridiculous.
No, that's fine. I mean, I sing and I dance all the time. So you could do whatever you want to do. Express yourself.
That's what we
Please.
do here on this platform.
Exactly.
All right,
Self-expression.
let's express ourselves about the Oscars. Now that we've read the list, let's get to some of the shenanigans.
Oh, because there were shenanigans.
Yeah. So first, if you don't mind, I'd like to give props to Billie Eilish. She made history. She's the
Hmm.
first artist this century to win both Grammy for Song of the Year and Oscar for Best Original Song.
Well, good for her.
So that same one song won both.
Good for them.
Yes. Congratulations. That's an honor. That's super fly.
Good for them.
So I'd like to start there. Now we can speak about the foolishness if you like.
Well, since we started with Billie Eilish, then it's only right that we move right on over to
To the
Ryan
next
Cox.
song. Ladies first.
Because Ryan got up there and performed his ass off.
It's hit. I'm just Ken.
I'm just Ken. Okay?
Yeah.
He gave it to him. All right. It
Yes,
was
he did.
a very theatrical performance. His castmates joined him. The other Kens joined him on stage and did a
Which I'll
little
be honest,
dance.
I didn't expect that.
Well, that's why I say it was theatrical. It felt more like, well, two things. Because I remember watching it and thinking Barbie could totally be a musical. Some
Yes.
something tells me that was the prelude to Barbie becoming a musical.
Totally could see that. And I would
Yeah.
take my daughter to go see it.
Oh yeah, I would absolutely go see Barbie on Broadway. Um, but so I felt that, but it felt very much like this was supposed to be a theatrical production. It was not supposed to be taken seriously in the sense that we weren't watching Billie Eilish for
Right.
example, perform on stage, where we would have taken that very seriously. I think this
Right.
was meant to be theatrical. I think it was
Absolutely.
meant to be satirical. I don't think it was meant for us to walk away thinking that one of
Right.
the
He had
best.
the ladies of the cast and the director singing.
Right.
He
And the
grabbed the
fact
cameraman and said, "When you put your manly hand in mine."
Right, and the fact that he had, Kingsley Ben-Adir and all his other classmates,
Cast.
all his other castmates,
I'm about to say, what school
uh,
they went to? How you know?
all
What
the other
school they went to?
Kens were there.
Right.
I think that let us know what type of time they were on. I think
Yeah.
this was also a really, really, really brilliant idea,
Absolutely.
considering all the backlash around Barbie when the nominations came out. I mean, I'm sure that this probably was already planned, but if
Yeah.
it wasn't, this was genius, I think. It and it also allowed them to kind of spotlight Greta and Margot.
Yeah.
I think they had a full circle moment without Greta and Margot being nominated. I think they were able to have that full circle moment with that performance. I mean, some people may not look at it that way, but I think that Ryan went up there and represented for all of them, and
Yeah.
that's why I love that they involved a lot more members of the cast than just him, because I feel like that was them kind of solidifying, hey, like, we see what happened, we know what happened, we understand, but
Right.
this was a team effort, and
Yeah.
you know,
And he's spoken publicly about it too.
yeah.
He spoke publicly about his, disappointment in the Academy for not nominating them uh when they should have been.
Now, I know you don't care about this, and it's not important, but I did see an Instagram post. It was like a repost of an Instagram post or a tweet or something. Did you know that Ryan Gosling and Eva Mendes are together?
I never know who anyone is dating.
I'm
So
just
no, I did not know.
it was just random. It was so random. She posted like a picture or a video of his performance, and said, "Okay, you gave them what you needed to give them. Now come home." And I was like, "What? What is this?" I don't know. Random stuff you see on the internet. I was like, "Oh, good for them."
Um
I don't know.
yeah, I had no idea. Now,
Okay.
Ford Jefferson, when he won his award, he said, "Thank you all who worked on this movie for trusting a 40-year-old black guy who never directed anything before." That's pretty fly.
Yeah,
So he won
that's
for his
cool.
first movie at 40 something. That's super fly.
I love that. There's
I
hope
thought
for
that
the
needed to be
rest of us.
highlighted.
There's hope for the rest of us. That's all I can say. I mean, that's amazing. Good for him. I didn't realize that. I'll be honest, I didn't hear the whole speech.
Me either, but I found somewhere who highlighted it for us.
Yeah, but that's incredible. I love that.
Let's talk about what's not incredible.
Okay. I know where this is going.
John Cena,
Former rapper.
sure. John
Turned
Cena,
rapper.
okay. John Cena presented the Best Costume Design award um, wearing no costume. He had a sign that said costume design covering his crotch.
Was the sign the envelope?
I hope not.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was the envelope for him to open. But I suppose not, because he had to cover himself with it.
And so this has been one of the most talked about things of the awards
Yep.
because sex sells, and so does nudity. And
Yeah.
so
Not sure what he was selling, but yep.
I know that people think this is funny, I don't. I don't think it was funny. I don't really think John Cena is funny. I enjoyed him on Peacemaker,
Mm-hmm.
which is a TV show that he's the star of for DC. And that's probably the best thing I've ever seen him in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he is the white version of The Rock. I think that is very clear that he has tried to mimic The Rock as far as his film career. Um, and maybe he's funnier than The Rock to some people, not to me. I also think John Cena will do anything for money. I think it's very clear that he's like, oh yeah, The Rock turned down that role. I'll take it. You want to make fun of me in a commercial about bets? I'll take it. You want me to be butt ass at the Oscars? I'll take it. And I think that's really corny. Hey, listen, you got to pay the bills, however you got to pay the bills. But to me, this is not fly. This is not funny. This is really sad that this white dude keep coming out here and showing off his steroids body um, for a check. And I suppose if you got the steroids body, you should show it off. If I had the steroids body, I'd probably be trying to pod naked too. I said try, and I don't. I'm just saying I understand that you want to show off your body. Is my point. You worked hard to get it. You work hard to maintain it. You should be proud of it, sure. But we don't need to see you butt ass at the Oscars.
Just taking
Some
my.
say, I'm
Oh,
sorry, what were you saying? No,
no.
no, go.
I was just gonna say the only reason I shook my head is because I'm like, if you were doing weeknights solo, then your steroids body could be on display all you want. But then there's your co-host, and it's like
And you'd have to get a steroids body too.
awkward.
Right.
Imagine, the you appear on the screen and you've got no shirt on, or like a tank top and your steroids body, and I'm kind of just here like, okay, you came as you are.
That's it. That's what they say in the good book. Come as you are.
That's yep.
But they don't say that about the Oscars. They say that about church. So John Cena going naked to me was not fly, fun, or entertaining. And some argue, which is what I was about to say, some have argued that it was to highlight the importance of costume and design. So, if I show up with no costume or design, it highlights the importance of costume and design as I give the award for costume and design. And yeah, okay, cool, whatever. Then you could have still showed up in something. Showing up with a card that says costume and design, no. I'm irritated by this white man.
I think this is a little obnoxious.
I think it's over the top ridiculous.
If that is the thought process, I think that's a little obnoxious. I also think that there's a history of, I'm pretty sure it's the Oscars, not talking about Will Smith, but there's a history of white men doing weird shit on these award shows and nobody says anything. And everybody just kind of is like, oh, ha 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 ha, funny, 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 funny. And like, I could fact check that. I don't have all the other instances top of mind right now,
Mm-hmm.
but if we want to go back to that at some point, we certainly can. I'm happy to do the research. I just it is cringy. It's like it's weird, and this is supposed to be, yes. Is it a night where people are supposed to be entertained and have fun? Of course. But when you're not the host, so it's not your job to make sure that people laugh. Also, it is still an award show, or it's still an award ceremony that people hold in high regard, that people look forward to be able to be recognized by their peers have who have skin in the game. We don't
No pun
always
intended.
yeah, we don't always, oh, right. We don't always agree with the decisions that are made by the Academy or by the voters,
Right.
but it still means something. The Oscars still mean something. The same way the Grammys, a lot of people complain about the Grammys. We've talked about the flaws with the Grammys, but it still means something. It's still,
Right.
when you're talking about the highest of honors in music, or with the Oscars, when you're talking about the highest of honors in film, this is the place that you go to. So I'm not saying that, like, I'm not so prudent that I can't take a joke, but it's just, it kind of, costume design is already like forgotten, right? Like, you kind of, some people who it matters to talk about it, but a lot of times you don't really hear a whole lot about costume designers. You don't really hear a lot about the people who make people look the way they do in these films that we watch. They're not really the people that are being put front and center. You hear about the actors, of course, you hear about the directors and the producers, you hear about those people, but you don't hear a lot about the costume designers, not in that way.
Right.
And to do this with this particular category, it's kind of gross to me. Like, it's kind of cringy because I feel like it kind of diminishes. It furthers that. If it to me, it furthers that afterthought, and I don't like that. I don't. We didn't need it. I mean, he could have. To me, he's very stupid funny. Like, not funny, but just like says and does silly things, so people laugh. Ha ha ha. Like,
Right.
okay, awkwardly laugh. I feel like there were so many other things that he could have done to be silly, um, than that. I also don't know why John Cena is the person presenting costume design. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't know.
understand. There are so many other people who could have done that. Um, and it would have been maybe more relevant. I thought about it and I was like, well, am I being too hard on them? Because John Cena is someone who does play in films where costume design is very significant. I mean, it's
Right.
significant in any film, but I feel like when you start thinking about like superhero movies and things like that, there's a lot of details that go into that. So
Yeah.
that was the connection I made there, but to me, it's a reach anyway. Um,
Imagine showing up in your custom made, very expensive, Gucci, Louis, the brands,
mm,
dress, and you're decked out to the nines, as they say, and John Cena comes out on stage butt ass naked.
right. It's like, it's cheap. I would have preferred him to show up as one of his characters that he's
Something.
played. He could have
He
shown
could
up
have
as
even he could
Peacemaker.
have
He
even
could have
showed
shown.
up with like a discombobulated thing, right? Where it could have been like a piece of the Oppenheimer costume and then like a Barbie part. Like he could have took all the top nominated things and wore one piece of their outfit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like he could have wore Oppenheimer's hat, Barbie's, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like he could have wore a piece of everybody's thing and came out as this like, oh,
He could have worn.
these are all the winners this year. These are all the top nominated people. I'm gonna come out as all of the characters in one. Just
He could
some
have worn a pink
disjointed,
blazer. He could have worn like a t-shirt with a bomb on it,
right?
and
He could have
and
came
he could have
out as
done.
like all these
Yeah.
different things. He came
I mean,
out as steroid naked guy.
they could have made him a hat. They could have screen printed a hat that had a flower and a moon on it.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Like
Mad
something
shit.
super silly,
And
but
we're freestyling and just came up with mad examples. Imagine actually taking thought. Yo, it's whack. I mean, speaking of whack, let's just
it's
keep it
corny.
moving. Like,
Yeah.
fuck him. So, speaking of people who are irritated, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse did not win, and Shamik Moore took to Twitter to say some things. He said, robbed. He said, respect to the winners, it's true. I'm definitely a sore loser, but we didn't lose. Spider-Verse has impacted a lot, that was capitalized, of lives. We may not have been acknowledged tonight, but life goes on and beyond, because the next movie's called Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah, wouldn't have ever caught that.
I got y'all. He said, yeah, get ready.
Mm. Yeah, he wasn't happy.
No. But this was a foolish move on his part.
And the director of the film said something very different, and someone reposted it and said, "This is how you, this is how you lose."
Yeah.
And he admitted that he's a sore loser. But yeah, this is not the first time he's done this. By the way,
Oh, no?
I don't remember what the other thing was. I know I'm bad today. Like normally, I'm like, it's this makes me think of that. I
You
don't
took
have
Monday off. It's all right.
it. But he's done this before.
Ah,
Sure, if I
okay.
look it up, I'm sure if
No,
I
it's fine. It's
I'm sure if I look it up, I can find it. But he has been publicly like kind of like, why,
got it.
why you even be humble, sit down, like kind of like
Yes.
that. I'm trying to be careful though because I think sometimes with people of color, we tend to slap them on the hand for having public reactions to things when white people get to have those very same public reactions also. So I worry sometimes at saying, "Oh, you should behave a certain way," but I just kind of feel like, yeah, no, he's been around for a while and he's starting different things. I watched him in the Wu Tang series that was on Hulu, and I know he's done. I know he's done quite a bit of other um movies and TV shows. So I don't want to take away from his talent or his experience, but it is kind of like, do you have like because
Yes. And go ahead.
sorry. When you're connected to a movie, well, anything, a movie, a TV series or whatever, there are other people involved.
Yes.
And I think sometimes people forget that. And you're trying to, and now you have this one person over here who went rogue. And then you've got all these other people who are involved. And now they're in this weird position because they're like, well, yeah, we're upset about it too. But also, it's okay to lose. Like somebody has to lose. And I don't know. Just,
I was going to say, I think the major difference is we already know that Black Hollywood, quote unquote, has challenges when it comes to participating in projects, going to the next level, etc.
yeah.
Doing something like this is not wise because it can get you and the projects you're involved in shunned. It can get you to be, it can make your career peak if you're not careful, right? We've seen this with examples of Monique, for example, someone who we've discussed recently here.
Yeah.
Some of the things Monique did behind the scenes have affected her career in major ways. And this could be the same. The difference is someone who's not one of us, they don't have the same ramifications. It's not as easy to do those things to them, I would argue.
Hmm.
And here's a great example of just that. Someone else took to Twitter to express some things,
Hmm.
to express their unhappiness, if you will, to express that they had some issues with the opening of the awards. And I can't find it now.
Oh, okay.
What's up? Speak.
No, you said you can't find it, so I said okay.
Oh, I thought he was going to say something else.
No, I was gonna ask somebody had a problem with Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. And now, oh, I found it. It was right in front of my face. All right. So the ex president, Donald Trump, said, has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC quote unquote talent. George Slanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Also, a really bad politically correct show tonight, and for years. Disjointed, boring, and very unfair. Why don't they just give the Oscars to those that deserve them? Maybe that way their audience and TV ratings will come back from the depths. And then he said MAGA, which I will not say out loud. Well, Jimmy Kimmel found out about it and said, "Isn't it past your jail time?" I thought that was a cool, quick comeback.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is funny.
Yes. Thought that was good.
I wish that he had just, I gotta be honest with you. And we don't, I'm not
Be
gonna say,
honest.
I'm not gonna say too much. I'm just gonna say that I really wish that years ago when he was doing The Apprentice, I wish that he just continued to do that and never had aspirations for anything else. I would have still watched The Apprentice. It was a great show. I would have still watched The Apprentice, and you know, we wouldn't have to deal with it. So I just
You ever seen the show House of Cards?
absolutely, I love House
I
of Cards.
think House of Cards gave him the idea to run for president. There's a season in House of Cards where we find out in House of Cards that the current president was only put there because of his very rich friend. And they go and find out that the very rich friend put him in the position to win the presidency and did all of these behind the scenes deals. I have always believed that Donald J. Trump watched that or was told about that and was like, oh, I'm the rich friend. I don't need anyone to do that. I'll do it myself.
I can see that. He very much feels like it very much feels like he plays pretend. It's like he's living in this alternate reality almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's, for lack of a better word, it's like he's wearing a costume. It's like kind of like when kids play dress up or kids play like wedding. And they're like, oh, mommy and dad, they get married. And then they're like, mommy and daddy are going to the store. You stay here, baby. And they're like dressing up as something that is real, like is real. It really exists in the world, but they're playing a role. It's like he's the actor in his own universe. Like he's
Well,
playing a role in the. It's weird. It's like he's not of of this world. It's so strange to me, but
I think he's doing exactly what politicians do. I think what you just described is what politicians do. Most of them are not being themselves because they can't
right.
be themselves to be where they are today. I
That's a
think
good
in
point.
order to be a politician in this nation, you have to play a role. And those who do not, well, then you
And
get
then they
removed
sink to the
because you
bottom.
won't play the ball. Yeah.
They sink to the bottom. That's true. Yeah, it's just so bizarre to me. I'm like, oh, okay. It's just
And that was my exact reaction when I heard this next thing. Can't hear it?
no.
Well, I tried to play it, but I guess not.
So what were you trying to play?
I was trying to play is footage of your bestie, Miss Westy,
Oh,
who said at a recent, I guess, concert, it looks like, that she has been working on an album. That album will be called Elementary School Dropout.
yep. That's what she said.
So when I heard that, I said, oh, okay.
Do you care to elaborate?
Not really, but I will.
I
And I don't
honestly
even,
thought you were just gonna say no, and then that was gonna be the end.
I think that it's clear that Northwest is influenced by her dad and has a great relationship with her dad. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I truly do.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, yeah, I think, listen, that's beautiful. And I don't want to confuse people in any way. I think it is amazing that this child has such a deep bond with their dad and that they want to be like that. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, it's very sweet. It's very, what you want is for children to feel a closeness to their parents. What you want is for a little girl to feel a closeness to her dad.
Right.
I don't so I agree with you. I think that their relationship as parent and child are, it's nice to, I mean, we don't see everything, but it's nice to see. What it appears is that they're extremely close. And she looks up to him and, yeah, wants to be like him.
Yeah, she's been him for Halloween. She's redone some of his outfits that paparazzi have like made big. So it's clear she
It's
has an
very
adoration
sweet.
for her father. Yeah, I think it's endearing. I think it's sweet. I
Yeah.
think it's beautiful. As far as making an album, I have no idea what this album is gonna sound like because I've never heard Northwest do music uh for real. What we have heard from her is a teeny tiny tidbit. We've never heard a full song from her. We've never heard a full rap or song
Mhm.
or her singing for 16 bars or anything, or anything more than 16 bars is what I mean to say. Let me move this over. And so I don't know what this is going to sound like. Now, I will say the name itself is very smart. It is a great way to play off of her dad's classic album title. And people even are already making jokes about what the single will be called and things like that. Very smart on the marketing tip. But I don't really have much more to say as far as music because I don't know Northwest to make music. She did the quick little feature on the Vultures 1 album. Who knows? Vultures 2 is coming soon. Maybe there will be more features there. I don't know. I do know we've heard very little from her at this point. And I don't really know what 10-year-olds make music about. So I don't know how this is going to sound. I will say it probably will not be for me because I'm not 10 or 11 or 12 or 13.
Right.
And so I won't be listening to it probably. I definitely won't be reviewing it because I'm not going to break down a child's album the way we normally do. And so, hey, cool. It's a cool thing to do with your dad. I'm sure Kanye is producing it and sure he's got writers around to help her come up with the dopest verses possible. And, I hope it's a great success. But once again, I will say, and this is my closing point, I do think when you have a small child, which 10 is small for those who don't know that, she's not even a teenager yet. I do think when you have a small child, you have to be careful about the level of exposure you give them to the public. We said this before when they said she was going to direct the music video, which it doesn't look like she did, but
I mean, we didn't get the
whatever.
music video we thought we were getting, which I think was disappointing
Right,
with you and I.
right. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she did direct that video, but it didn't look anything like what we thought we were getting.
It wasn't the concept we were sold.
Right. And so I said it then, I'll say it again, and then I'm going to shut up. I think that you have to be very careful exposing your small child to something like the public criticism and the machine of mass media. And Kanye and Kim Kardashian, um, in this specific example, with them being her parents, I think it's even more dangerous because they are such huge stars, huge phenomenons, huge icons in multifaceted places. This means that she will be criticized on a level that most 10-year-olds would not. Um, I come up here all the time and say I'm a nobody, even though I do music. If my nobody self allows my nobody daughter to do an album, it's going to be criticized, sure, but not on the level of the daughter of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. And so the same way there are companies trying to stop your album from coming out, there will be companies trying to destroy the views and the music and the creation of this small child. So I think you have to be very careful when doing this. Um, Everyone is not going to go the route I'm going and saying, I'm not going to criticize this. There are going to be people who are going to try their best to criticize it immediately. They're going to try to get a leak. They're going to try to get it as early as possible and straight up destroy that child's art. And that is a dangerous place and can be very traumatizing for a small child. Your deal.
I mean, look how ready they were. I mean, professionally or not. look how ready people were to criticize Blue Ivy when she started dancing with Beyonce. And it was
Exactly.
like, she's 11. What is there to criticize? She's dancing on stage with her mom, and you guys are critiquing her like she's a trained dancer. It doesn't, like, it didn't make sense. They're already doing it with this Northwest thing, because the other side to it that you didn't mention was that, um, people are joking around about what the first single is going to be called, but people are also upset at the title. So I saw one person was like, Kanye's daughter is not about to make my kid want to drop out of school.
That's funny.
Now, we know, as millennials, we know why elementary
Yeah,
school
it's a play on
dropout
words.
means something, right? Like, for us, we're not thinking that way.
Right.
But there are a lot of people who will think that way, regardless of whether they know it or not about his first album. People are not going to um look at it as, oh, that's cool, she's basically naming it after her dad's album. People are going to look at it as Kanye and his offspring are trying to get kids to quit school.
Sure.
I think that's already some of the controversy around it. I say all that to say that I totally understand where you're at with it. No, I wouldn't expect us to come on here and critique the way we critique Drake, or talk about Jim Jones' new verse or whatever. We're not gonna do that
No.
with Northwest. What I think the thing that we would do is come on here and talk about the fact that she's 11 and she made an album, which
Right.
is pretty incredible. I think that would be the angle that you and I would take.
Mhm.
And we've done nothing but congratulate her since she's clearly started to express interest in being a part of the music industry. So yeah, that part I'm not worried about, because no, I'm not going to speak on a kid, like,
Right.
and their abilities
No, I
and,
think we
and
have
all
more
of that.
integrity than that.
Yeah, but I do worry, because as quickly as she said it, as quickly as she called the name of the album, is as quickly as people were like, so y'all trying to make my kid drop out of school? And it's like, did y'all drop
That's
out of
just it.
school when y'all heard college dropout? Like, is that
Right.
what happened? You idiots?
Right.
Because that's what it is. It's idiocy. You raise your kids, not Kanye and his daughter.
Right.
I get so mad at that, because I'm like, can we use common sense, please,
No.
adults?
No, we can't.
But I am excited to see how this goes. I agree. Not going to be an album for me. It'll
Right.
be an album for my nieces. But I do think that she's onto something. I think that she has charisma. I think that she's a very creative kid. I think she's a very cool kid. And I want to see. I'm curious. Like, how is this gonna go? What is her trajectory going to be? Because as of right now, she's kind of setting up some building blocks and has been doing that for several months now. So I think we all kind of knew that something was probably coming sooner than later.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's we'll see.
That's our motto here.
We gonna see.
Yeah. On that note, we're ending this long ass episode. We will see y'all tomorrow.
Bye.